Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AFC Northerners. This is episode number 73, and we're going to start to the right on introduction.
Hey, Mark Herman, a.k.a. LA Bengal fan on Twitter, repping the Bengals.
Dave Green, Browns guy.
Jan David Sutar, Ravens Nation. Gabriel Bellotti, Steelers baby. All right, guys.
So, what do you got
Oh,
for
and a
news?
huge shout out for, we're back at Rocco's again.
Yeah, thanks again.
Our 5 locations.
Yep.
We're here in the Studio City location. Thank you. Great place to take in a game.
Awesome.
Let me go through the game. Mixon, as advertised, real deal. Bengal fans are excited. Lots of positives. Jordan Willis looks like the steal of the draft. There were several plays that were very Von Miller-esque. I actually, in watching the game back, I thought he was offsides. I had to replay the play and see that he actually wasn't offsides. That's how fast his burst is off the ball. Lots of positives. We're going to have a really good secondary. William Jackson III looked great. Kavari Russell and Ben Wickery looked very good. And those are just backups. Big shout out to Chris Smith. You're looking at a play here. He forces the early pass and then turns around and gets back in the play and makes the hit on the receiver. This happened the entire second half of the game. Chris Smith was a guy we got in a trade in April. Absolutely looks like he's going to be a steal. Another huge positive was the O-line looked pretty good. We had a couple breakdowns, but Trey Hopkins definitely has played himself into the starting guard job, and he'll be backing up Andre Smith as the tackle. And Westerman and Redmond also looked very good. Negatives, wasn't impressed with Will Clark at all. And I wasn't impressed with the amount of pressure we got against the Tampa Bay's first line defense, or offensive line. So that's got to improve. And also Denard left the field hurt. I really hope we don't keep Denard and release Kavari Russell or Ben Wickery. I'm ready to cut loose of Denard right now. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, we had Lawson who had a shoulder injury, and Pierman returned to practice. Previewing this week's game, I want to see if the guys that showed up this last week can show up this week against what I consider to be a better defense in Kansas City. So Jordan Willis, can we duplicate what we did against Tampa Bay? Chris Smith, can you spend the whole second half of the game in the Kansas City backfield? And there's a possibility, John Ross has returned to practice and was cleared for contact. There's a possibility that we could see John Ross this week. Really want to see how his speed is. All I've been reading about is how fast he is at practice, how he's burning guys, and he's quick off the line. I want to see it in the game. So if not this week, hopefully by week 3. So that's what I'm looking for in Kansas City.
I want to have a discussion whenever we get to the final part about your O-line, because I got a lot of questions about your O-line.
Sure.
All right, so...
All right, hey, Browns, I'll start with some bad shit. 4.6 yards of play, that's not good.
It's preseason.
4-14 on third down, so that's not good. And 12 for 72 in penalties. We got to get that shit lowered and raised a little bit with all 3 of those. Good news, last week we beat New Orleans in a come-from-behind victory, 20-14. The guy I talked about last week, Jordan Leslie, I think he's still going to make the team. 2 catches for 9 yards on 3 targets. And then we have this very nice cutback touchdown run by Matthew Days. Days finished his day 3 carries, 9 yards, the TD that you just saw, plus 3 catches for 8 yards on 4 targets. Next week, we're at home, Monday night, bright lights against the Giants. Giants actually have a really good secondary and a pretty decent pass rush. So we're going to be watching for Osweiler to see how he does start in the first quarter. Wouldn't be surprised to see Kessler start the second quarter. Really want to see how those guys do against that Giant defense.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really curious, especially because I just heard today that they're grooming pretty much Osweiler to start at this point, which is crazy if we thought
They're paying
that.
$16 million.
I
Let him
know,
go out there and
it's-
be the punching bag.
But it's crazy.
I don't think it's a crazy idea. You don't want to rush a rookie quarterback.
Exactly. No, it's crazy that where everybody was coming out at the beginning of the season saying like, oh, why did they pick up Osweiler? Now he's groomed to be the starter. That in and of itself is like an alternate reality.
They needed somebody to start off the season so that way their backup could get
Absolutely. No, I totally don't disagree with it.
Anybody who watches Star Trek, he's the expendable crew member.
He's the
down
red
in circus. Okay,
He's
why
the
not?
It's the Browns. Like, we'll spend $16 million.
Let's remember the trade that we made for Osweiler.
Yeah.
They duped Houston into giving us a second-round pick while giving us Osweiler.
This is true.
Right? And then we came back and we duped Houston again and got their first round draft pick. I don't see what the big deal is if we do start Osweiler.
I don't know. There's no big deal.
He had a decent couple of seasons in Denver. He went down to Houston where the playbook is way more intelligent and super in-depth. So I just didn't. He's not going to perform.
He needs a simpler playbook.
To me, it
Most
was
quarterbacks
just it's an interesting observation on the irony of the whole thing.
Got it.
All right, well, what do you got for us,
All
Bob?
right, so don't want to we won 23-3. By the way, you and I are tied for the closest scores from the predictions last week, right? So you and I it was we're tied for the
There
closest.
you go.
Because these guys were nowhere near.
Even though I said it's the
He
most,
actually called really closely, but he called the wrong person.
even though I said it's the most meaningless statistic.
I know, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. So a couple things that I do want to talk about. One is this catch by Board at the very end. It is one of the most perfect catches I've seen, so well done. Really was happy about that. It was a great catch. And also, I just want to say that if you haven't really paid attention to the run defense of the Ravens, we had a really good showing of that. I'm really excited to see what happens going into Miami. There's still a lot of questions about what's going on at QB, but we're actually going to touch on that here in just a little bit. And I also want to say that Woodrum actually looked like he was really having a lot of fun. But again, we're going to touch on QBs here a little bit later. Coming to the Dolphins, I'm really curious to see what the pass rush is against the Dolphins, especially with the first teamers in the first quarter.
Right.
But more importantly, I want to see if our run defense can handle against their run, because they have some really interesting stuff going on. And also, everybody's going to go there to see what the show of Jay Cutler at the Dolphins QB is going to be like. I'm really, really entertained by this idea. Again, it's also going to be interesting to see the battle between Woodrum and Mallett, to see what happens there. Those are the three most interesting things about it to me. So, up to you.
All right. The Steelers-Giants, I was really pleasantly surprised actually this week, and I gotta say, a couple of people that stood out were the rookies. Even though Dobbs threw 2 interceptions, but it was his first game in preseason, whatever. He still threw a nice, 28-yard bomb to Kobe Hamilton. Kobe Hamilton also had a really nice game. He had 2 for 2, 72 yards, and a TD. Our run game also looked really nice. You had Toussaint only had he had 6 carries for 19 yards, but you had where are those other ones? You had a combined of between Niles Davis and Terrell Watson. You had a combined 18 carries and 78 yards and a TD that came from Terrell Watson. On the defense,
that TD was actually really nice.
The TD was really nice.
That was
that run
I
TD.
didn't want to admit, but that was a nice play.
But it's I'm not too worried about the run our run game this year. It looks really nice, and as long as Bell continues to progress, I think we'll be good. I was upset I didn't get to see a lot from Schuster, but he went out with a concussion. Hopefully he'll be back this week against Atlanta. Dobbs, I like Dobbs' arm, and I'll talk more about this later. But I really liked what I saw from him. 2 interceptions. That's going to come with coming out of the kinks. The defense side was amazing, I have to say. Between seeing what Moats did, Moats had 1 interception, should have had 2, but 1 was called back because of a holding penalty on, I can't remember exactly who it was. But then you also had T.J. Watt, and we've been all waiting. We've heard all the good news about T.J. Watt, about the progress he's been making in camp, but we finally got to see what T.J. Watt can do. And my God,
Yeah,
that man,
was nuts.
he had, he had 5 tackles, 3 of them were solo, he had 2 sacks, he had 2 tackles for losses, and he had 3 quarterback hits. The man is a beast. He comes from the stock of stuff when it comes to football, and I can't wait to see
stuff.
the stock of stuff. And I'm extremely excited to see how he progresses and see what he does against Atlanta, and I hope to see a lot more from Moats. We didn't see a lot from our starters. We didn't see much from Tuitt, and we also didn't see much from Williams or Dangerfield or Hardaway. But it was early. But what we did see is we saw Strong, and what we saw was what we started to see towards the end of the season last year. I'm really liking the defense. I also really like this. What was the new guy? The new cornerback that we had, who I want to say it was Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton showed up. He really showed up this week, and I like him. I know he wasn't a draft pick, but I'd like to see what he can do, and I'm interested to see what we can put up against Atlanta.
Two things. One is that you're playing at home, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that way you don't have to deal with the Chick-fil-A and the Atlanta Falcons deal. Did you hear that? They have a Chick-fil-A and Atlanta Falcons, but it's closed on Sundays. It totally makes sense.
Well, yeah.
It's only going to be open for Monday and Thursday games. Two is that you mentioned working out the kinks. Did you know that the largest BDSM dungeon, I don't know why I know this, but the largest BDSM dungeon on the East Coast is in Pittsburgh?
Really?
Yeah, it was like a weird, it's one of those things where like you look up the city of Pittsburgh and you get weird stats. I know, right? It's fucking weird.
I don't know where that came from.
No,
but-
it's totally
Okay, hey.
it's like one of those
Allow him to
weird
do some
things.
journalistic
Yeah, no,
investigation.
I know
there,
the
so.
stupidest trivia.
So-
I know the stupidest trivia.
Now, my only comment is on Dobbs. My only concern, and we want to see how he does in the second
Well,
game.
let's
touch on
see
that.
let's
That's
that for
the
the QB.
Exactly. All right. So, real quick, guys, want to take a quick shout to say thank you again to Rocco's. for
Absolutely.
hosting
so
us.
much,
Thank you.
Rocco's.
Also, want to give a shout out to superfanstyle.com for doing our logo. Thank you so much, Peter. Make sure you go on there. AFC North 20 is our discount code at superfanstyle.com. It'll get you 20% off of your purchase. They've got a lot of great shirts. They're coming out with more, so please go check out superfanstyle.com. And if you are in the LA area, there's a bunch of different Roccos. You can check them out.
Yeah.
It's roccostavern.com. Please go and check them
Right.
out. And so now let's move on to a discussion about what you expect out of who do you expect to be your backup quarterback, and what is your expectations of their performance? So it's pretty much open formed. My question actually for you starting it off is, you lost Zeitler. All right. You also lost a lot of your good O-lines guys. So Whitworth is gone, exactly. And the rest of them are kind of meh.
No, we have Trey Hopkins. Trey Hopkins has shown he's played himself into the starting lineup. He has long arms, he holds his blocks, and he's there.
But that's one guy. I'm really worried about your tackles.
Also Westerman played very well, and so did Redmond in the second half. So, like I said, we have a lot of horses in the stable. I wouldn't mind getting another body in there. But one of the things we saw in the first half of this game, especially the first quarter against Tampa Bay starters, was the offensive line gave Dalton time and opened a lot of holes. Jeremy Hill actually looked like a good running back.
Just scare me.
Well, they can scare you all you want.
I'm afraid of what's going to happen on that blind side for you.
Well,
that being said, like your backup QBs, where are they at, and what do you think about them?
Well, let's talk about this. I initially thought we were going to trade A.J. McCarron, and we've heard rumors about the Bengals were offered Minnesota's second when Bridgewater went down last year, and they turned it down. And now I'm reading stories, and I'm starting to understand why. A.J. McCarron was put on the non-football injury list his rookie season. He was not taken off that list and put on injured reserve until December. So the Bengals' position is he's going to be a restricted free agent next year, which means a team that signs him is going to have to give a compensatory pick to the Bengals. So that's why they're holding out. They're not accepting, the third rounders or some of the lowball offers they've had. They'd rather keep him as insurance. He's already shown he can win in the spotlight, both in college and the pros. I mean, he took Denver to overtime on a Monday night in Denver. That game would have gotten us a bye week had we won that game. And he essentially hit the game-winning pass with A.J. Green in the Steeler game. It wasn't his fault that we didn't win that game. So he delivered. So I really think that's why we're holding on to A.J. McCarron, because he is going to be, if the Bengals, and it'll probably go to arbitration or some type of ruling, but if the Bengals get to be, if he's a restricted free agent, that's a lot different than him being an unrestricted free agent with no compensation, and all we would get is a compensatory pick. Yeah. So that's it. In terms of Driscoll, I liked what I saw, and he's kind of the preview when AJ's gone of what our backup's going to be for Andy Dalton. He adds mobility, but once again, it's jump time in a preseason game. It's week 1. I want to see more. But I was very pleased with what we saw, and I wonder why San Francisco cut him, because when you watched him, you're like, he's better than Blaine Gabbert.
San Francisco, though.
But
he's really worried about.
But he's better than Blaine Gabbert. Why did they keep Blaine Gabbert and let Driscoll go? From what I saw, I'd rather have Driscoll.
Some people are just better kissing ass.
So, well, I guess so. Then Blaine must be the pro.
So
there you go. But that's my.
Let's end with this question for each person. So Dalton goes down. You get a choice between the two. You go with
A.J. McCarron. I mean, that's easy. That's a no-brainer.
Okay. All right. So Brownie.
It's going to be Osweiler, Kaiser, Kessler, and Hogan to practice squad. That's what I think is going to happen. I expect Osweiler to go probably about 6 to 8 games, right about the bye week. I bet you we get a taste of Kaiser. It kind of makes sense, especially with the schedule, the bye week, and we also have the England game. We could potentially see Kaiser play in both the follow-up games of those. That'll give him time to prepare as a starter with the ones. But for right now, let the rookie just sit the bench. Let the rookie catch his breath. Let's just roll with Osweiler and see what he's got.
So you want Osweiler in there? You want Osweiler to start?
Yeah,
So
I'm tired of
Osweiler,
ruining
if
quarterbacks.
Osweiler goes down, who's your guy that you want?
Kaiser.
Not Kessler.
And it actually makes a lot of sense doing Osweiler because I think any of the other quarterbacks are going to be better coming off the bench. Osweiler is going to be a baby coming off the bench if you bench him. So put him in as the punching bag.
I completely
Let him
agree.
be the expendable crew member. Week 4 or 5 or whenever it is, you bring in the quarterback of your future, which is not Osweiler.
I really think that it may not be this year, it may not be 5 years, it may not be 3 or 4 years down the line, but I think that you're going to start seeing coaches go with the 2-look offenses. Where like literally you're going to have 2 different QBs that can do 2 different type of skill sets, and you're playing around them. That way you can really disrupt the defense.
Yeah.
I think
That also keeps quarterbacks healthier too, because they're not in every down.
Exactly.
It's not a bad way to go, honestly. It's not.
It's interesting. At the
It
very
is
least.
interesting.
And I thought that too when I saw Driscoll running the ball so much and running in for a touchdown. I thought, here's our Wildcat.
And
Run the
and I
Wildcat,
think-
don't risk Scalton,
and I think
risk
if-
Driscoll.
That's exactly what
And
I'm
I
doing.
think, and I think what's
Yeah.
going to happen is if Ben does retire in the next couple of years, I think the Steelers might try to look at something like that, especially if
I think
Jones keeps progressing the way that he is, and if Dobbs is what I'm hoping he's going to be. I don't doubt the Steelers wouldn't try something like that if Ben retires.
We already saw the implement of that last year with Terrell Pryor and Cody Kessler. Both guys played quarterback.
You're right.
Okay, now we're starting to see that influx in the running back position with Duke Johnson flanking out into the slot. He can still drop back and run the ball, but we're going to go with Corwell, and then Days is going to be the backup. Duke's going to go play the slot, and we can actually move him back into the running back
Yeah, that makes
slot.
sense.
Yeah,
So
it's
we're
a
already-
really
We're
interesting.
already
idea.
starting to see that type of formation, that type of thought process.
It's like a very
come
trickle
into the
down
mix.
kind of thing.
It is. Oh yeah.
And you said Jones regressing, right? Not progressing.
He's kind of progressing. We'll
I
get to
don't
that.
know. That's
We'll get to
All
that.
right, so Ravens at backup we have Mallet and we actually have 3 backups because we have 2 because we released we released the other. So sorry, we've been through a bunch of quarterbacks today. So basically, I think that between Mallet and Woodrum, obviously you're going to go with Mallet. He's more battle tested, but I'm not really happy about that choice. I'm not excited about it. I really want to see what Woodrum winds up doing because. I mean, I don't want to have somebody who's like the king of throwing interceptions as my backup QB. He's a poor man's Joe Flacco.
I don't have any problem with you having the king.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure
as
you
a
do.
backup QB.
I honestly don't see Mallet making your final roster.
Honestly, I am biting my tongue on that.
What
but
I saw from
agree.
Woodrum was really pretty decent. It's a lot better than what you're going to get from Mallet. They went out earlier this week. They signed Thad Lewis.
Yeah.
They cut the
Yeah.
Right,
arena
that's what I
football
saw,
guy.
Yeah, that's who it was. Thad
And
Lewis, thank you.
You can
Sorry,
see
guys.
Thad Lewis playing third string there. You can see Woodrum being the 2. And if it's a healthy Flacco, then you got Flacco right there. The only way Mallet does make the roster is if Flacco is not capable of playing in week 1.
I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with
But
that.
they're looking at him playing week 1. Like I mean, it's not a.
So
Yeah.
whenever you guys look at the QB roster as it is with the Ravens, like what is your overwhelm? Are you underwhelmed? Are you what are your
I mean,
feelings?
I'm not afraid of any of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not
Flacco's
afraid of any
Flacco.
of them.
I wouldn't.
I actually
I hate
prefer
Flacco, but I
Flacco.
don't hate Flacco.
I mean,
Like,
it's okay.
Like it's the Ravens, so I hate Flacco.
Yeah, no,
but
absolutely,
I
I get
but
it.
here's the thing: I don't
I've
think
never been
Flacco-
wacko for
I don't think-
Flacco,
I don't
so.
think Flacco's a terrible quarterback, but I don't think he's ever going to go down as like a Hall of Famer.
I do not
Right.
disagree with you. What I do think is that the thing that makes him dangerous is, for me, is that arm and the accuracy of that.
I mean,
arm.
yeah, if he's got the right
And
people
also,
around
that's
him,
the thing
if
is
he's
like,
got
look,
somebody-
we've got
but you-
Jordan
but you
Macklin,
look-
and nobody's really talking about Jordan Macklin.
But here's the
as
thing:
much
it's
as I
gonna
think we should.
depend on his rapport with Macklin. I mean, he had Steve Smith Sr. And Steve Smith Sr. was. I mean, you guys have Mike Wallace, and he can't do anything with Mike Wallace.
That's not true. He destroyed you guys last year.
Okay, that was one game. I'm talking about
Against your
stretches of
defense.
games.
It's supposed to be the best thing ever.
I didn't say it was the best thing ever. Last season we had our problems. This season we've been building on that defense.
I get that, but I'm saying Mike Wallace is a one-trick pony is also saying that, like, going back and Mike Tomlin saying, I didn't realize he was more than a one-trick pony. So I mean, there's that.
I like Flacco because he's stationary back there, and with the speed we have and what we've added to our team, I really think we are going to lay him out week one. And especially with the retirements and injuries that you've had on the offensive line. I think you've got Jordan Willis, you've got Carlos Dunlap, you've got Manny Lawson, we've got Billings, we've got Atkins. We're going to get to Flacco, and we're going to get some real hits on him.
And again,
we're going to see how that back is.
To me, my offensive line is a thing that I am not exact. I mean, we got Hurst, who is basically still like a swinging door.
Right.
He's been better this season so far in one game. We'll see how that holds up. It's going to be interesting to see Austin Howard finally line up and see what he brings to the table there, because that's a big question mark. Like, how is he going to be? It's also going to be interesting to see with our first-string wide receivers, with Williams, with Macklin. I'm telling you, Macklin could be just destructive with Flacco. I don't. It's interesting.
I was never a Macklin fan when he was at Kansas City. So I'm not, or Philadelphia. So I don't. Well, I get that. I'm just saying I'm not impressed.
Okay.
All right. So, as I was talking about, we got to see both of the rookies, Dobbs and Houston. I didn't talk anything about Bart Houston because it was just awful. It was watching him in the second half. It was terrible. He's probably going to be relegated to the practice squad again. Jones is back this week. He's done with that abdominal injury, and so he's going to be the starter because they've already said Ben's not going to play until the third preseason game.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to be the starter as long as he stays healthy this week against Atlanta, and then you're going to have Dobbs probably play. So my prediction is you're probably going to have Jones the first half, and then you're going to have Dobbs in for the second quarter, and if Dobbs doesn't do well, they'll bring Houston back in for the fourth. But if not, if Dobbs does well in the third, I think he'll play the entire second half. I just don't see them having Jones in the whole time. And yes, Jones is extremely hit or miss, but now with us bringing in a rookie quarterback who, all in all, I really liked what he did. He moves really well. He had himself, Dobbs had himself a 16-yard rush when the pocket started closing. His awareness needs to grow because I can't remember, I want to say it was in the towards the end of the second quarter where he had a guy that just completely ran through the O-line and Dobbs didn't even see him. It was like right out of his peripherals. Dobbs didn't see him and was just sacked. So his and the way he throws out of the pocket needs work as well. He looks like he can move. That arm is amazing. Like I said, he threw a nice 28-yard bomb to Kobe Hamilton, and it was beautiful. He got it right into Hamilton. Hamilton had someone right on his back, and he lofted it right in there. He's got a nice arm. I think over time, if we continue to develop Dobbs, I think Dobbs is going to be a really nice addition, especially if Ben does retire, or when Ben does retire.
If Ben goes down in the season, who would you want?
I want Jones. Just because he is
I know, right?
I was like, yeah, go ahead, watch Jones. That's drool on my chin there.
My secondary is gonna love that.
Here's the thing, and I disagree with that because if you look at our O-line is amazing right now.
Barring injury.
Yes, barring injury, but right now our O-line has been, and especially last year towards the second, it's been nice. The O-line has been really nice, especially with Villanueva. Villanueva's really starting to come into his own. We've still got a lot of the starters. But I mean, the only reason I say Jones over Dobbs is because Dobbs doesn't have the reps. So we'll see what happens. I think I don't like Houston. We'll have to see what he does, but I really don't like him.
I liked what I saw with Dobbs in the second quarter.
Yes.
I want to see what he does as the preseason goes on.
Yeah.
My biggest concern was, if I'm a Steeler fan, is he threw two ugly picks, and they were against the Giants starter.
Yeah.
I mean, when the first tier was in there, I mean, they were ugly. They weren't just, this ball got tipped. I mean, they were complete misreads. I don't know where I am. Confusion picks. So, but the pass to Hamilton was nice. But once again, I temper it because it's the second stringer.
Of course.
So.
No, we gotta wrap this up real quick,
Yeah.
but I just want to get your thoughts on one thing, and that is like, Josh Dobbs was throwing not against first teamers like towards the end of the game, like basically, and that's whenever we saw some like not so pretty stuff.
Yes.
So my question is, what is your feeling on Dobbs if he's in with first team reps and he's up against like any of our corners or safeties trying to throw against, like what is do you have a vote of confidence or a vote of no confidence?
I have a vote of no. I'm iffy on that because, like I said, this is the first game. He played 2 quarters. Yes, he threw
Absolutely.
2 interceptions, and I'm chalking that up as nerves. Yes, it was against backups. It was against like second stringers.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. I temper it as well.
Yeah,
I'm excited for his. What I'm excited for his arm. Yes, he's got to get more precision. He's got to know who he's throwing to. He's got to get his people down. Like Ben's got who he's going to throw to. He throws to Brown all the time. He throws to Bell. Like Dobbs doesn't have that.
Was Bell there?
No. I'm saying Ben. I'm saying when Ben.
I know. I'm just
Bell wasn't there. So the thing is that we've got to see how Dobbs progresses. It was the first game.
Yeah,
it was the first game. It was a preseason game. It's those jitters. He's a rookie.
But that's
It's all
the wrong part.
speculation. No, and so that's the other reason why I'm saying Jones is.
We gotta wrap it up.
Yeah. If Ben goes down, that's why it's got to be Jones.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Again, thank you to Rocco's.
Thank you, Rocco's.
Thank you, Rocco's. And also thank you to Superfan Style again for the logo and also for the sponsorship. We are going to be. Are we back on?
We'll know.
Okay,
so
so
there will at least be updates, individual updates.
Yeah.
If we aren't able to do a show
During the
next week.
game, we're not quite sure if we're going to be able to be here next Tuesday to shoot, but we're going to do everything we can. We should be able to update you, but at the very least, we will have our in-game or like
After game reactions.
after game or halftime reactions to be able to clue you guys into what we're thinking. And we good? Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to sign off as we always do with
Fuck the Patriots.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.
guys.